In the heart of Kentucky's bourbon country lies the small town of Bardstown. Known for its picturesque main street and historic distilleries, it seems like the quintessential American small town. But beneath its charming exterior, Bardstown harbors dark secrets and unsolved mysteries that have haunted its residents for years. One case in particular stands out: the disappearance of Crystal Rogers. A 35-year-old mother of 5, Crystal vanished without a trace on July 3, 2015. Her car was found abandoned on the Bluegrass Parkway, keys still in the ignition, her purse and phone left behind. It was as if she had simply evaporated into thin air. But Crystal's disappearance was just the beginning. What followed was a tangled web of suspicion, tragedy, and unanswered questions that would shake Bardstown to its core. Crystal was last seen alive at the home she shared with her boyfriend, Brooks Huck, and their young son. Brooks claimed Crystal had been up late playing games on her phone. The next morning, she was gone. At first, he wasn't concerned. Crystal sometimes spent the night with friends, but as hours turned to days with no word from Crystal, her family knew something was terribly wrong. The discovery of Crystal's abandoned car sent shockwaves through the community. How could a devoted mother of 5 simply vanish into thin air? As police began their investigation, Crystal's family launched their own desperate search efforts. They plastered the town with missing person flyers and organized volunteer search parties to comb the countryside. But one person was noticeably absent from these efforts: Brooks Huck. Crystal's family grew increasingly suspicious of his apparent lack of concern over her disappearance. When questioned by police, Brooks denied any involvement, but a chilling phone call during his interview raised even more red flags. As detectives questioned Brooks, his brother, Nick Huck, a Bardstown police officer, called to warn him not to speak further. This interference would have serious consequences. Nick was later fired from the police force for obstructing the investigation into Crystal's disappearance. The case took a dramatic turn in October 2015, when authorities publicly named Brooks Huck as the main suspect in Crystal's disappearance. They also made the grim announcement that Crystal was presumed dead. Yet despite intensive searches and a growing mountain of circumstantial evidence, no trace of Crystal's body was found. The Rogers family refused to give up hope. Crystal's father, Tommy Ballard, became a fierce advocate for his daughter's case. He meticulously documented every lead and theory, determined to uncover the truth about what happened to Crystal. But tragedy would strike the family again, in a way no one could have predicted. On November 19, 2016, just over a year after Crystal vanished, Tommy Ballard was shot and killed while hunting on his own property. He was with his young grandson when a single shot rang out, striking Tommy in the chest. The shooting was ruled death by unknown subject, adding yet another layer of mystery to the case. The loss of both Crystal and Tommy devastated the tight-knit Ballard family, but it also fueled their determination to find answers. Crystal's mother, Sherry Ballard, took up her husband's mantle, tirelessly pushing for justice for both her daughter and her husband. As months turned to years, the case seemed to grow cold, but behind the scenes, investigators were slowly building a case. In August 2020, the FBI took over as the lead investigative agency, bringing new resources and renewed attention to Crystal's disappearance. The FBI's involvement brought a surge of activity to the case. Over 150 federal agents descended on Bardstown, serving search warrants at multiple properties, including homes belonging to Brooks and Nick Huck. They conducted dozens of interviews and collected new evidence, raising hopes that a breakthrough might finally be on the horizon. In the years since Crystal's disappearance, rumors and theories had swirled through Bardstown. Many residents believed her case might be connected to other unsolved crimes in the area, including the 2013 ambush killing of Bardstown police officer Jason Ellis and the brutal 2014 murders of teacher Kathy Netherland and her teenage daughter Samantha. These cases, along with Crystal's disappearance and Tommy Ballard's shooting, cast a long shadow over the once idyllic town. As the investigation progressed, the FBI released surveillance photos of vehicles of interest seeking the public's help in identifying potential witnesses. They also announced new areas of interest, including a stretch of road near Poplar Flats and Farmaway Drive. Each new development brought a mix of hope and anxiety for Crystal's family and the wider community. Then, in September 2023, came the breakthrough many had been waiting for. Joseph Lawson was arrested and charged in connection with Crystal's disappearance. Just weeks later, on September 27th, federal agents arrested Brooks Huck, charging him with murder and tampering with evidence. The arrests sent shockwaves through Bardstown. For years, many had suspected Brooks's involvement, but seeing him in handcuffs made the reality of the situation sink in. As more details emerged, it became clear that the case against Brooks and his alleged accomplices was complex and far-reaching. In December 2023, a grand jury indicted Stephen Lawson, Joseph's father, on charges of criminal conspiracy to commit murder and tampering with physical evidence. The prosecution moved to consolidate the cases against Brooks Huck, Joseph Lawson, and Stephen Lawson, arguing that their alleged crimes were interconnected. As the legal proceedings unfolded, the community held its breath, hoping that justice would finally be served. In April 2024, in a surprising turn of events, both the prosecution and defense attorneys agreed to move the trial 150 miles away from Bardstown, acknowledging the intense local interest and potential difficulty in seating an impartial jury. Throughout this ordeal, one question remained at the forefront of everyone's minds. Where was Crystal? Despite years of searching, her body had never been found, leaving her family without closure and fueling speculation about her fate. Then, in June 2024, a glimmer of hope emerged. A court document revealed that authorities had identified a possible location for Crystal's remains. Wave news crews had observed investigators digging at a site in Nelson County as part of a murder investigation. This development brought a mix of emotions for Crystal's loved ones, the potential for answers, but also the heart-wrenching reality of what those answers might mean. As the case moves toward trial, the impact on Bardstown and the surrounding area cannot be overstated. The arrests and ongoing legal proceedings have reopened old wounds and reignited discussions about the other unsolved crimes that have plagued the community. Many wonder if the truth about Crystal's disappearance might shed light on these other cases, or if they will remain separate mysteries. For Crystal's children, now years older than when their mother vanished, the journey has been particularly painful. They've grown up in the shadow of this tragedy, their lives forever altered by the loss of their mother and the relentless pursuit of answers. Sherry Ballard, who lost both her daughter and her husband, has become a symbol of resilience and determination. Her unwavering pursuit of justice has inspired many, and she continues to be a vocal advocate for Crystal and other missing persons. As Bardstown braces for the upcoming trial, the community finds itself at a crossroads. For nearly a decade, Crystal's case has defined the town in many ways, exposing its darkest secrets and testing the bonds between neighbors. The hope now is that the legal proceedings will not only bring justice for Crystal, but also begin a process of healing for a community that has been trapped in a nightmare for far too long. The story of Crystal Rogers is far from over. As new details emerge and the case moves through the legal system, many questions remain. Will her remains finally be found, bringing closure to her family? Will the full truth of what happened on that July night in 2015 finally come to light? And can Bardstown ever truly recover from the shadow cast by this and other unsolved crimes? In the quiet town of Valdosta, Georgia, a community was shaken to its core by a tragedy that would spark years of controversy, heartache, and unanswered questions. On January 11, 2013, the body of 17-year-old Kendrick Johnson was discovered in the most unlikely of places, rolled up in a gym mat at Lowndes High School. What initially appeared to be a tragic accident would soon unravel into a complex web of conflicting autopsies, allegations of cover-ups, and a family's relentless pursuit of what they believed to be the truth. Kendrick Johnson was more than just another face in the hallways of Lowndes High. Known affectionately as KJ, he was a dedicated student-athlete with a bright future ahead of him. He excelled in multiple sports, including basketball, football, and track. Those who knew him described a young man with a warm smile and a humble spirit, beloved by his family and respected by his peers. But on that fateful January day, Kendrick's promising life was cut short under circumstances that would baffle investigators, medical examiners, and the public for years to come. The discovery of his body, contorted and trapped within a rolled-up gym mat, was just the beginning of a story that would capture national attention and raise troubling questions about race, justice, and the lengths to which a grieving family will go to uncover the truth about their child's death. On January 10, 2013, surveillance footage captured the teenager entering the old gymnasium at Lowndes High School at 1:27 p.m. The school had two gyms, an old one that served primarily as storage for wrestling mats and a newer facility. Kendrick was seen walking towards the right side of the gym where the mats were located, moving out of the camera's view. What happened in the following hours remains a subject of intense debate and speculation. Kendrick never returned home that evening, prompting his mother, Jackie Johnson, to report him missing just after midnight. The next morning, January 11th, the unthinkable occurred. A student at Lowndes High noticed a pair of socks protruding from one of the rolled-up mats. Upon closer inspection, Kendrick's body was discovered inside, setting in motion a series of events that would divide the community and captivate the nation. The initial investigation pointed to a tragic accident. Authorities theorized that Kendrick had fallen into the upright mat while reaching for a shoe at the bottom, becoming trapped and ultimately succumbing to positional asphyxia. This conclusion was supported by the first autopsy, conducted by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, which ruled the death accidental. However, the Johnson family refused to accept this explanation. They believed there was more to the story, suspecting foul play and a potential cover-up. Their doubts were fueled by several troubling aspects of the case. The condition of Kendrick's body, the apparent lack of a thorough initial investigation, and inconsistencies in witness statements all contributed to their skepticism. In June 2013, the Johnsons took the extraordinary step of having their son's body exhumed for a second autopsy. The results of this examination, conducted by an independent pathologist, stood in stark contrast to the original findings. This autopsy concluded that Kendrick's death was the result of unexplained, apparent, non-accidental, blunt force trauma. The conflicting autopsy results only deepened the mystery surrounding Kendrick's death and intensified the family's quest for answers. But perhaps the most shocking revelation came during this second examination. The pathologist discovered that Kendrick's internal organs were missing, and his body cavity had been stuffed with newspaper. This gruesome detail not only horrified the family, but also raised serious questions about the handling of Kendrick's body and the integrity of the initial investigation. As news of these discrepancies spread, the case began to attract national attention. Civil rights organizations became involved, and the community of Valdosta found itself divided. Many stood by the official explanation, while others rallied behind the Johnson family, demanding a more thorough investigation. In October 2013, the case took another turn when a Georgia judge ordered the release of surveillance video from the school gym, along with other investigative documents. The footage, while not conclusive, added another layer of complexity to the case. It showed Kendrick entering the gym, but did not capture the critical moments that could have explained how he ended up in the mat. The mounting pressure and unanswered questions prompted federal involvement. U.S. Attorney Michael Moore announced that he would be joining the investigation, bringing the resources of the FBI to bear on the case. This development gave the Johnson family hope that a more comprehensive inquiry would finally uncover the truth about their son's death. Throughout 2014 and 2015, the case continued to evolve. The Johnson family filed multiple lawsuits, including a $100 million wrongful death suit that named 38 individuals they believed were connected to Kendrick's death. They alleged that 3 classmates had attacked and killed Kendrick, though these claims were met with strong denials and countersuits. The investigation took yet another dramatic turn in July 2015 when federal agents executed search warrants on several homes, including those of Brian Bell and Ryan Hall, 2 students who had been named in social media speculation about the case. Computers, cell phones, and other items were seized, but no arrests were made. As the investigation continued, the case became increasingly complex and contentious. In June 2016, more than 3 years after Kendrick's death, the U.S. Department of Justice concluded its independent investigation. Their findings were a blow to the Johnson family's hopes for justice. The DOJ announced that they had found insufficient evidence to support any criminal charges in Kendrick's death, effectively supporting the initial conclusion of accidental death. However, the Johnson family remained undeterred. In 2018, nearly 5 years after their son's death, they took the extraordinary step of having Kendrick's body exhumed for a second time to conduct a third autopsy. This examination, performed by Dr. William Anderson, the same pathologist who conducted the second autopsy, concluded that Kendrick's death was due to non-accidental blunt force trauma to his right neck and right thorax. This finding once again contradicted the official ruling and reignited public interest in the case. The persistence of the Johnson family and their supporters kept the case in the public eye. On what would have been Kendrick's 24th birthday in October 2019, the family requested that both federal and state investigations be reopened. Their plea did not fall on deaf ears. In a surprising turn of events, on March 5, 2021, Lowndes County Sheriff Ashley Polk announced that he was reopening the investigation into Kendrick's death. This new investigation brought a glimmer of hope to those who had long sought answers in the case. Sheriff Polk stated that he had been in contact with the Justice Department to receive all records from the previous investigation, signaling a comprehensive review of the evidence. Just days after the case was reopened, another dramatic development occurred. The Johnson family presented an audio recording to the sheriff's office, which they claimed contained a confession related to Kendrick's death. The recording, which the family had reportedly purchased for $1,000, contained statements suggesting guilt and remorse over Kendrick's fate. However, this potential breakthrough was short-lived. By May 2021, Sheriff Polk announced that the recording had been determined to be a hoax. The individual in the recording had confessed to investigators that the confession was not genuine, dealing another blow to the hopes of resolving the case. Despite these setbacks, the Johnson family's determination remained unshaken. In October 2021, more than 8 years after Kendrick's death, they requested a new investigation with a fresh set of investigators. In December 2021, the case gained additional attention when actress Jennifer Lewis, who produced and narrated a documentary about Kendrick's death titled Finding Kendrick Johnson, urged Congress to investigate the case. This call for federal intervention highlighted the ongoing public interest in resolving the mysteries surrounding Kendrick's death. The most recent development came in September 2023, when the Johnson family filed a staggering $1 billion federal lawsuit against the Georgia Bureau of Investigation and the Lowndes County Sheriff's Office. This lawsuit accused these agencies of conspiring to fabricate facts and make false claims about Kendrick's death. The family demanded a jury trial, signaling their continued fight for what they believed to be justice for their son. As of 2024, more than a decade after Kendrick's death, the case remains unresolved. On January 10, 2024, marking Kendrick's 11th angelversary, his family hosted a balloon release at his final resting place, reaffirming their commitment to continue fighting for answers. In the sweltering summer of 2007, the bustling city of Cleveland, Ohio, became the backdrop for a chilling mystery that continues to haunt investigators and family members alike. On July 9th, 14-year-old Ashley Nicole Summers vanished without a trace, leaving behind a web of questions that remain unanswered to this day. What began as a typical day at a family pool party would soon spiral into a decades-long search for answers, testing the resolve of a tight-knit community and exposing the dark undercurrents that can lurk beneath even the most ordinary of circumstances. Ashley was no ordinary teenager. Born on June 16, 1993, she was the eldest child in a large extended family, often shouldering responsibilities beyond her years. Known for her outgoing nature and infectious laugh, Ashley had a penchant for scary movies and a strong-willed personality that both endeared her to loved ones and foreshadowed the tumultuous months leading up to her disappearance. The summer of 2007 marked a turning point in Ashley's young life. As she approached her 14th birthday, those closest to her noticed a drastic shift in her demeanor. The once carefree girl became increasingly defiant, particularly towards her mother, Jennifer Summers, and her mother's long-term boyfriend. It was during this time that Ashley began dating 16-year-old Gene Gill, a relationship that would add fuel to the growing tensions within the Summers household. Unbeknownst to her mother, Ashley had been inviting Gene over while she was tasked with watching her younger siblings. This secret arrangement came to light when one of Ashley's brothers revealed the truth to Jennifer. The discovery, coupled with Ashley's theft of money from her mother's purse to get a tattoo of Gene's name, pushed the family dynamic to its breaking point. In an attempt to defuse the situation, Jennifer made the difficult decision to send Ashley to live with her grandmother for the summer. It was a choice made out of love and desperation, hoping that the change of scenery would help mend the fractured relationship between mother and daughter. Little did Jennifer know that this decision would set in motion a chain of events that would lead to her daughter's disappearance and spark one of Cleveland's most perplexing cold cases. As the summer progressed, Ashley bounced between relatives' homes, a common practice in their close-knit family. On July 9, 2007, she attended a pool party at her uncle's house near the 2100 block of W96th Street. Witnesses recall Ashley arriving in a somber mood, likely due to an earlier altercation with another uncle, Kevin Donathan, which resulted in her cell phone being destroyed. Despite her initial demeanor, Ashley's spirits lifted as she enjoyed the pool and conversed with relatives. At approximately 6 p.m., Ashley hugged her granduncle Keith goodbye, informing family members that she would be walking to her aunt's house, just a 10-minute stroll away. With all her clothes in tow and no working cell phone, Ashley set off on foot. It would be the last time her family would see her. The following days were filled with growing concern as Jennifer Summers failed to hear from her daughter. After 2 days of silence, panic set in, and Jennifer began a frantic search, calling relatives and friends. When these efforts proved fruitless, she turned to the police, only to be met with skepticism. Despite Jennifer's protests, authorities initially classified Ashley as an endangered runaway, a decision that would hamper the investigation in its crucial early stages. Undeterred by the lack of official support, Jennifer and her family launched their own search efforts. They organized parties to comb the area and plastered the neighborhood with missing person flyers. Mysteriously, these flyers were torn down within a day, adding another layer of intrigue to the already perplexing case. 4 weeks after Ashley's disappearance, Jennifer received a cryptic phone call at work. A voice, eerily similar to Ashley's, uttered the words, "Mum, it's me. I'm okay. Don't worry," before the line went dead. This tantalizing glimpse of hope would be followed by another potential sighting in November when Ashley's grandparents believed they saw her walking along 44th Street, sporting short blonde hair. But like smoke, she vanished before they could turn their car around. As the investigation stagnated, the FBI became involved in May 2008. The FBI's involvement brought new resources and a fresh perspective to Ashley's case. Investigators began to explore potential connections between Ashley's disappearance and those of other young women who had vanished from the Cleveland area in recent years. Amanda Berry, who disappeared in 2003 at age 16, and Georgina DeJesus, who vanished in 2004 at age 14, shared eerily similar circumstances with Ashley's case. The breakthrough in the Berry and DeJesus cases came on May 6, 2013, when Amanda Berry managed to escape from the house of Ariel Castro, leading to the rescue of herself, DeJesus, and a third woman, Michelle Knight. The horrific details of their decade-long captivity shocked the nation and reignited interest in Ashley's case. Rumors swirled that Ashley might have been held in Castro's house at some point, but despite thorough searches, no evidence was found to support this theory. As the investigation continued, authorities turned their attention to Ashley's family members, particularly her male relatives. Uncle Kevin Donathan, with whom Ashley had argued on the day of her disappearance, became a person of interest. The family underwent polygraph tests, but the results were never made public, adding to the shroud of mystery surrounding the case. In a cruel twist of fate, a glimmer of hope emerged in January 2015, when a woman bearing a striking resemblance to Ashley was captured on an ATM security camera in Rhode Island. The Summers family, desperate for answers, contacted the FBI. However, their hopes were dashed when it was confirmed that the woman in the photo was not Ashley. The case took an unexpected turn in November 2018 when the FBI conducted a search at the back of Kevin Donathan's home on Holmden Avenue. While this search didn't yield any breakthroughs in Ashley's case, it preceded a shocking development. On December 4, 2018, Kevin Donathan was charged with multiple counts of rape, attempted rape, and gross sexual imposition involving several minors over a span of 25 years. In February 2020, he was sentenced to 35 years in prison for these crimes. Despite this development, the FBI never officially named Kevin Donathan as a suspect in Ashley's disappearance. The connection between his crimes and Ashley's case remains unclear, leaving her family in a state of agonizing uncertainty. As the years passed, investigators continued to pursue leads and conduct searches. On April 13, 2021, based on new tips, the FBI excavated an area near West 43rd Street and Train Avenue in Cleveland. But the search only uncovered animal bones, leaving Ashley's fate still unknown. Throughout the investigation, several locations have been identified as potentially significant, including the 1100 block of Holmden Avenue and the 3400 block of West 44th Street. Each new lead brings a mix of hope and dread for Ashley's family, who have endured years of emotional turmoil. Ashley's story has been featured on national television programs and true crime podcasts, keeping her memory alive and the search for answers ongoing. If you're a fan of true crime, cold cases, and the unsolved, hit that like and subscribe button for more chilling cases like those told in today's video. As always, be alert and never stop searching for the truth.